And we're back with another VOD review. Of course, a very anticipated match today. Lunatic-Hai versus EnvyUs. Lunatic-Hai, probably one of the best teams in Korea, if not the best team. And EnvyUs, of course, that North American team made of mostly Europeans that had that crazy online win streak of like 57 games. So once again, I didn't see the match. I saw the result though. Very interesting result. So let's get right into it. We're starting with Nepal because Apex always does this best of three King of the Hill to start. And let's start with our compositions. So EnvyUs, they're going for this 1-2 setup. Okay, so, oh my god, my pen. Okay, this should be there. There we go. Okay, so 1 tank, 2 supports right here. So a 3 DPS composition, which allows you to go for the Tracer that's going to be harassing the enemy supports. You also have the Reaper in there so that you can have the Beyblade combo, and you can have the McCree who can potentially keep in check an enemy flanker and protect the supports, but also he has, of course, a lot of damage potential. On the side of Lunatic-Hai, we have 3 tanks, 2 supports, so 3-2, add a McCree in there, and of course the Roadhog is a very damage-focused tank, so, you know, it's a bit of a 3-2 hybrid. The interesting thing here, however, is that at the APAC premiere, we saw Miro was the off-tank and Dean was playing main tank, and Jaehong right here was the guy playing Ana. Now this is actually goes back to before Ana was in the meta, where Dean was mostly the Zenyatta player, so a support player. But I think what happened is Jaehong just really picked up Ana and was really good with her, so they moved him to Ana. And so Miro went to kind of like the off-tank flex position, whereas Dean went to main tank. So this is just going back to kind of like how they used to play, I guess. Okay, but comp-wise, not anything crazy going on the side of Lunatic-Hai. So the idea with the 1-2 comp with 3 DPS on the side of EnvyUs is to have a lot more threat on the enemy backline, just because you have like more damage threats basically. But it's riskier because obviously your front line is really weak. So the initial fight seems to be going the way of Lunatic-Hai, and yeah, they take control of the point. I think it's risky to run this. If your Tracer can get in the back line and do a lot of damage, and then you can have your McCree in the back also outputting crazy damage, you could make it work. But with Lunatic-Hai having 3 tanks, they have a very strong front line, and they also have the hook that can just catch people off guard. So it's definitely risky. We have a huge discrepancy in Ana ultimates. Am I reading that right? Is that 77? No, that's the 3, right? Yeah, the bit rate's not right. Okay, that's weird because let's go back a bit. Because you have much more tanks on the side of Lunatic-Hai, in theory, these guys could be taking a lot of poke damage, which should be getting healed up by the Ana here. They should be getting healed up by the Ana, and therefore they should have much more. Did he die early? I was just talking. Oh, okay, he already used. Okay, so that makes much more sense. So they got the Ana ults much faster because of healing the tanks, and therefore they were able to use it in the very first fight, where these guys, well, the DPSs here have a much lower health pool, so you can't heal for as much, so of course the Ana can't charge her ult as much. Okay, that makes much more sense. So this was the first fight. And they just secure it. But now EnvyUs comes back with the Ana ults. So here's the big question. What are they going to do with their own Nano Boost? They have Deadeye, so they could potentially combo it with Taimu. And they used it. I don't see anything, so it's probably on the Reaper, I'd say, but he goes down. So we don't get to see it. They also use Deadeye, don't get anything out of it. Eska doing work. Are EnvyUs gonna swap off of this? Not for now. Okay, we have a really strong front line with those 3 tanks for Lunatic-Hai and pretty much like no tanks on the side of EnvyUs, because like Zarya is a very kind of damage focused, supportive kind of tank with her shields. It can output a lot of damage if she gets any charge. She's not a front tank. She's not a front line. So you have all these kind of flankers running around trying to do damage, but I think it's risky. It's kind of interesting that they're not swapping off. So they do nano boost the McCree. Kind of misses his Deadeye. Falls down. Okay, 3 kills from Tailspin on the Tracer. But they're retaking. Okay, they're retaking, but Lunatic-Hai is at 98%. So now Lunatic-Hai can afford to just do dry pushes until they have all ults, and they should be able to retake the point. EnvyUs, however, does have Nano Blade, Beyblade. I'm confusing just Nano, Blossom, and then Beyblade. I'm just saying Nano Blade. Whereas that's the Genji combo. Okay, so there we go. Beyblade breaks everyone. That's fine. Okay, because they're using ults, and Lunatic-Hai can afford to just get in there, lose fights, not waste ults, and come back with 6. Yeah, we do. There's the Deadeye. Doesn't get anything. He even gets picked off. Okay, so they Lunatic-Hai swaps off the Roadhog to go for a Tracer. So I think the Roadhog was actually better. Okay, we talked about EnvyUs not really having a front line. They finally swapped to a Monkey, but they didn't have a front line for much of this. So having these three tanks here was actually pretty good on the side of the Lunatic-Hai. So this Tracer swap, I don't know if I really agree with it. I think we're just better off staying on the 3-2, but I guess it doesn't matter too much. They retake the point. Tracer's trying to stall a bit. Monkey comes back, but oh, okay, the whole team's here, so they might have a shot at this, but Miro has nano boost, he falls. And they clean up, they win the first one. Okay. Pretty interesting stuff in terms of composition. The swap of role on the side of Lunatic-Hai is intriguing, and they're staying like that. Okay, that's kind of intriguing. Okay, so now we're on Village. Village, of course, is where we see the maze come out, so no surprise here. And we see mirror matchup, exactly the same comps. Kind of like the standard right now, 2-2, okay, with the Mei controlling space and the Reaper outputting the crazy amount of damage, and of course the Nano to go with him. Double Mei. So what to look for? Who's gonna get that wall first? Okay, so looks like EnvyUs is gonna be a bit late to this. Okay, perfect. So we saw the Mei on this side of EnvyUs be a bit late, whereas here, let's go back to the view, but you'll see Lunatic-Hai's Mei was the first. See, this is Lunatic-Hai. The Mei is the first out of the gate, whereas here, this is Tailspin. Someone's in front, right? He's not the first to get through. So what's going to be the consequence to that? Here, first out the door, this is the Mei. There we go. That's a wall. So now you have 2 guys on this side, 6 here, and the wall can't be placed. So they're like instantly can have an advantage. So you need to make sure when you're going for this to get your Mei be the first one through to try to get the wall on the enemy. Or if you know that your Mei is late, I think maybe you have to like counter wall up here to make sure the enemy Mei doesn't have vision for her to put this wall. Right? Because if you block the vision of the enemy Mei, then your whole team can get out and, you know, you remove this wall and then you're just fighting here. So you lose the advantage of potentially walling off the enemy team, but at least you don't get walled off yourself, right? And here, EnvyUs' Mei is late coming out of the spawn, and they're not willing to kind of like cut their losses with a wall here. So they're probably going to lose this first fight pretty convincingly, I'd say. Their tank goes down. Reaper goes down. And now Lunatic-Hai can push into the rest of the team. And okay, that was, yeah. They still have a Mei, so that was a bit risky, I think. But they should have control of the point and the high ground. Okay, so they're moving to the point, but they've lost control of the high ground because too many people moved down there. Okay, so they have point, but they need to kind of like retake control of the high ground, or they need to kind of stay in this awkward position. Wow, this is just a messy brawl. Okay, we didn't talk about ults yet, but okay, there's a Graviton here. They ended up getting some ults pretty early here. Kind of interesting. We only now see the nano boosts. Okay, they actually retake the point. So yeah, it's kind of interesting because Lunatic-Hai won the first fight because of the Mei thing that I described. But they killed the enemy tank so quickly that he was able to come back before the point kind of unlocked. So by the time they kind of tried to clean up the first fight and then move to point, they had to sacrifice the high ground. And I think EnvyUs then dropping onto them gave them like a bit of an advantage. Right. So at that point, you need to either kind of clear, really try to wipe the enemy team, and then move to point, or keep control of the high ground and maybe just put one person to capture the point. Because everyone going on the low ground I don't think was ideal. Okay, so this is what we talked about last time. You have control of the point, you set up on the high ground over here, and you watch this entrance here, and the entrance over there. Which is really village, like that's all this map is about, which I don't think it's super interesting. Okay, so Nano, Blossom, kind of wipes everyone. That was an interesting position. He was right here, but he could hear the enemy team coming through this. He was just looking down, and he wasn't threatened by like the other door that's on the right.
How many times have we seen teams get caught by the hidden Reinhardt, the hidden Reaper? Let's watch that replay, and yeah, it looks about the same the second time. Reaper just destroying people. Baiting him up onto the high ground.
Okay, ult-wise, they did use a few. They used Earth Shatter, Beyblade, and maybe Mei. I'm not sure. Not sure. And on this side, we're gonna have Beyblade of our own and Mei and this. However, EnvyUs has Graviton and they don't. And that's a pretty big difference. Especially when you're the guys already winning there. Okay, so Lunatic-Hai is going through this middle. Oh, jumping down. This is smart. This is pretty smart. Because when you're up there on this kind of bridge that's behind like this building, you can either go in here and go out, or just jump down and go this way. And so if we have the sneaky Reaper that was up here in the corner kind of trying to spot in here, he doesn't necessarily know where the enemy team's going. So I think it gives you more options. Like if you're up here on this bridge and you see like a lot of people up close right here, right? A lot of people here up close, then you just have the option to go this way. If you have this and you see someone kind of poking through this, seeing you, you can just jump down and do this. So I think it's a better approach to like where you're gonna go. But of course, there's the Mei, there's the wall, and now you have 3 people in, 3 people out. We're just waiting. And yet, they might still lose this fight because of ultimates. Okay, that's interesting. So despite getting the really good Mei wall, they just didn't quite have the damage to take care of the people who did get through. So Lunatic-Hai retakes the point and retakes the high ground. I think against Mei's, so we just saw EnvyUs kind of walling off the main door over there, right? Every time a team goes through this high ground, we're going to see a big wall here. So I think with all these Meis on village, this path right here is the best way. Because you have this door, but also you can go out this door right here, right? So Mei cannot wall both this and this. So you're guaranteed, even if like 3 people get out here and the wall goes down, the other 3 can go out this door and you should be okay. That's probably the best approach. Like right here, Mei's here, ready to wall. You have a tank up front. You have damage ready to follow up. You have your supports that are probably up here, safe on the high ground. And you also have Zarya with vision, able to shield pretty much anyone. Now, they're trying to group. They're trying to bait the wall right here. And they, even though they were really grouped, when they said go, you still only have, is it just these 2 go out? So which is really like the problem. They managed to break the wall and get out, but I think it still gives a huge advantage to Lunatic-Hai. Oh, they had someone go on point. EnvyUs just retook the point, so that means someone maybe tried to go main during that distraction. Yeah, okay, Tailspin swapped to Tracer, I didn't see that. So they swapped to Tracer, sneak in the Tracer on the point to get control of that. It's kinda interesting, but he trades his life with Dean. So despite getting the point, if you still lose the fight, like, it's not necessarily good. But apparently they still managed to wipe. Alright, so we have Pulse Bomb, but Graviton's only half. We don't have Nano, half Sound Barrier, don't have Blossom. So that means they probably Nano Blossomed. Here, half, close to it, 3/4. We have this, okay. The Graviton Blizzard combo is very interesting because you put people in the Graviton and you put the Blizzard underneath them, and the Graviton holds them in place for long enough to be frozen by the Blizzard. So they end up getting like immobilized for like something crazy, like 9 seconds. Or 8 seconds. How much is it? I'm not sure. But a really, really long time. So even though like this is not really a damage combo, it's a CC combo, which enables just from like basic attacks to just clean out everyone. Like provided you can get enough people in the Graviton, of course. But it's a very interesting combo to use. It doesn't really work like your standard. There we go. You see, Graviton was here. They put the Blizzard around, and everyone in here just kind of gets frozen. But I don't think they caught enough people inside of the Graviton. 99% for the side of EnvyUs. Lunatic-Hai retakes, and now they have to hold. EnvyUs is only going to get 1 good push, I'd say, with this percentage ticking. So just 1 main push, and then just like the reinforcements kind of trickling afterwards. Alright. Here comes the Blossom. Doesn't get too much, falls to chips. Kind of YOLO graviton at the end because he's panicking and he has to use it. Chips goes down. Coco was nanoed, yeah, that's true. But he's a bit alone with Tailspin right now. Only Tailspin to be the end. Oh no, so they are trickling back down. Okay, so we saw the monkey swap from Internet Hulk to try to get back on here really fast, but this should be the end. Okay, it's the end. So Lunatic-Hai takes map 1, the King of the Hill, 2-0. And yeah, interesting stuff in terms of composition. EnvyUs trying a 1-2 comp with 3 DPSs. We see kind of like the role swap on the side of Lunatic-Hai, which is intriguing. And we're just going to move to map 2. No break, no break. So, map 2 is Numbani. And Lunatic-Hai actually goes back to their other roles. So, Miro used to be their main tank. He plays a lot of Winston. If you check his profile on like Master Overwatch, he has like a ton of hours on Winston. But he was then put on Flex when Dean swapped to the Reinhardt. So even though on King of the Hill they had main tank, Flex off tank, and this guy Dean on the Ana, they go back to putting Jaehong on to the Ana for a payload map, which is very puzzling because that means maybe in terms of positioning on payload maps, Dean doesn't do too well, but in the kind of chaotic fights of King of the Hill, maybe he does more. So they're okay with putting him on King of the Hill, but not okay with payload maps. Or maybe on the King of the Hill maps, they didn't have much synergy with Miro and Dean for like jumping in and, you know, bubbling or that kind of thing. So maybe they wanted to put Jaehong with Miro on the tanks. I don't know. I really don't know what the thought process is. Anyway, in terms of compositions, Lunatic-Hai on defense, they have 3 tanks. Just the McCree as DPS, so 3-2 with the McCree. No Zarya, okay? And I don't have too much of a problem with that on the first point of Numbani, because Zarya does have like problems with like high ground, low ground, right? So you can have a shield somewhere either in the back in front of the McCree or on the left high ground just to shield like whatever's coming out. The monkey can jump on every kind of high ground and help whoever needs help, that's fine. The Roadhog can, you know, get picks with the hook, and also he can like focus shields with his right click. So I think it's alright. Okay. EnvyUs. So we see again a 3-2, but no Reinhardt, and they have a Zarya instead. So we talked about this the other time. Every time they go for Winston Zarya, they kind of swap roles between Coco and Internet Hulk, because Hulk is their monkey player and Coco is their Reinhardt, and then swaps to Zarya when they go for this, right? And of course, Taimu has a pretty good Roadhog. So try to get picks with the Roadhog, and you have double dive with the monkey Genji, I guess. I don't really like the Roadhog with like some kind of dive comps. I think here you should probably go for like another flanker or like just another threat to duel people. I guess he kind of serves the same purpose as the McCree here in terms of like hooking people instead of like flashbang. Alright, let's go. So they're just kind of going main. Okay, this is interesting. You see so many people going top, even though you're gonna have like the Reinhardt shield up top and the Roadhog kind of shield busting for him. The monkey, he can be up here like he is now, or he can be downstairs. He can jump, and just there's gonna be a lot of people here, right? So EnvyUs is like, screw it, we're not gonna go up top. We're not gonna do any kind of cheeky half people here, half of the people here, or they used to do a collapse between the Pharmacy coming like far right and some people coming up top, right? Here it's like, okay, no subtlety, let's just go main and try to get someone. Ooh, that is a crazy pick. Let's see that again. So of course, when you're running a McCree, you could with a soldier as well. But when you're running a McCree, it's probably even better with a soldier. Okay, so they're doing this kind of crossfire double high ground thing where the monkey's up here, but he can jump here if he needs to. You have some presence here, and the McCree is right here in the back, kind of just shooting people from afar. And Taimu just walks up and hooks here, and he actually gets Eska. That's crazy. It's crazy pick.
Okay, well, Taimu gonna get the big surprise hook right there around the corner, but they can't push forward any further right now. We all are familiar with
Okay, I think I've said this before in a previous video. Numbani is the only map where you have a defender's respawn advantage on first point. The only hybrid map. Okay, so there goes kind of like your divers. Hulk jumps in, Tailspin jumps in on the Genji. But Eska's already back. And they deal with him. Nope. And they clean up. Okay. So Winston, it's no surprise to see Miro on Winston. As I said, like he plays a lot of Winston, and Winston is just great for this point. Even on defense. Like, not having the Zarya, sure, you don't have Graviton, so that sucks. But the fact that he can just jump on anyone, jump on any high ground, and just follow that up is just really good. Oh, he gets hooked though. Well, Nano boosted Genji goes for Eska right away, also gets Jehong. You have a whole hog as a response. That's risky, by the way. Because if you whole hog a Genji, he can always just reflect you and put you out of position. So you need to be really careful where you're aiming. But I guess they managed to get control of the point.
where Lunatic-Hai is going to go with this nano boost of their own.
Alright. So we see a swap here. Second phase, you could keep a monkey, but the Zarya is just really too important not to have. So they swap to a Zarya. And they keep the rest of their composition the same. Here on this side, we see the Genji swap to a Tracer. That's really good because the street phase on Numbani has a lot of these kind of back alleys on both sides where a Tracer can just go wherever she wants. And the high ground is not as important in this phase. So you don't need the Genji to be able to like wall climb. You can do with the Tracer. So here goes the Graviton. They combo that with the, was it the whole hog? Yeah, whole hog. Potentially even... No, he didn't have pulse bomb. He just swapped. Alright. That's a really good fight. They pretty much won this entire phase with just one fight, it seems. Maybe Lunatic-Hai is going to come back for like one last contest before the point. No, now that they've lost someone, they're just going to give this up and try to set up for the final phase. Or are they? Oh no, they're actually going for this. That's interesting. Because Miro's like just running back from spawn right now. He's not anywhere close. They had enough ults maybe to contest this. So Nano on the Reinhardt. Eska also gets someone. And they actually re-secure this payload. That's good. I didn't think they'd be able to do that. Comp-wise, still no Reinhardt on the side of EnvyUs. They're keeping this Winston Zarya combo with the Roadhog. Oh, we see a Reaper swap on the side of Lunatic-Hai. Okay, makes a lot of sense with the monkey and the Roadhog, and that enables you to have Beyblade on your side. That's a really good decision. We see Eska here on the high ground. but he gets jumped on by a nanoed monkey, which is kind of scary. Pulse Bomb gets negated by a really good sound barrier by Toby right here. We see a follow-up sound barrier by Harry Hook on the other side. But with the Graviton plus the Deadeye, yeah, they're screwed. Okay, they used quite a bit for that fight, but they still have the Beyblade for next fight. And also EnvyUs did use quite a bit. So on defense, you want to save ults, but if the enemy is using, like the attacks is using like 4 or 5 ults, you can still use like 3 or 4 on your side. Because now, these guys have nothing, and these guys at least have 1 combo. So they're probably going to use it here. Yeah, there goes the Nano, there goes the Beyblade. Doesn't get too much out of it, so pretty good disengage. Guess by EnvyUs. Where's the cleanup though? We're still pushing them back. I think not having the Reinhardt here is a bit of a mistake. Because that Deadeye, in that street, the Deadeye, if Esk is positioned up top, is pretty scary. Pretty scary. So we see Taejun actually go back to the Roadhog after he used Blossom, and we see Taimu swapping off of the Roadhog for a McCree. Now they have Graviton on Coco as well as Primal Rage, so it makes sense that they want to stay on that for a bit to use that. But I think, okay, there's the Graviton. Pulse Bomb combo. Doesn't get anything because we get another good sound barrier to counter the Pulse Bomb from Toby. So some really good timing on the those sound barriers from Toby. That's twice in a row where it kind of negates the enemy combo. Really good. And finally, we see the swap to Reinhardt. And a Zarya. So go back to standard Reinhardt Zarya, and we get the Reaper from Tailspin. So I think EnvyUs, they kind of stick to whatever they have, maybe a bit too long sometimes. And on Dorado on the other day, they swapped off the Pharah when the Pharah wasn't the problem. They were just not using ults properly. I'm not sure like who on the team is making those kind of calls. I'm guessing it's Internet Hulk. I'm not sure. Okay, there goes the Nano. Wait, did I just mute? Okay, I'm muted. Nano on Eska. Really, I just really like Nanos on McCrees if you have a good McCree. And now overtime they just clean up and they actually defend right before second point. So that retake that didn't look very good right before second point, where they came back to contest, but Miro, no, it wasn't Miro. Yeah, it was Miro on Zarya that got picked, and it didn't look like they would be able to contest. Actually, in the end, ends up like being a really big play. So now we have Lunatic-Hai on attack and EnvyUs on defense. So let's go with Lunatic-Hai. They use the same composition they had on defense with the Rhine and the Monkey, so double shields. Reinhardt shield plus Monkey's bubble shield. And with a Roadhog for picks. And keeping the same kind of 2 supports and the McCree in there. Okay. So 3-2. And they seem to really like that. Again, I don't necessarily have too much of an issue with Zarya, although on attack having that Graviton can help you after a few pushes if it doesn't work out, to make sure you have Graviton. On the side of EnvyUs does a lot of interesting stuff on first point defenses. It's something that we haven't seen in like the past month or two, but I really like this kind of thing. I think it's really exciting. So they play one support only, 3 tanks, so it's a 3-1 composition, and they're flexing Harry Hook onto a 76. This is something they used to do on Gibraltar on the first point. They would put 76 on the high ground. They would have a Farah up here, and they would play single support with a Mercy. That was, of course, before Mercy got nerfed and before the release of Ana. So here they have Ana as a solo healer. They have a Junkrat to spam into those tight corridors, and they're going to have a high ground in the back, of course, on the high ground. So probably the high ground, second high ground in the back. And they have 3 tanks that are going to be responsible for shield busting and for like some kind of defensive engage, right? So here, since you don't have any kind of speed boost, I think the Monkey's really good. As opposed to like Reinhardt, that's going to be much slower. And you have the Zarya to shield him when he is jumping in, and the Roadhog, like, as I said, just shield busting and potentially picking people with Hook. So interesting stuff. I love it when EnvyUs does stuff like that. I want to see like more 76, especially with the potential PTR buffs. Like, if we're talking about 76, his big problem right now and for the past like month or two has been that he doesn't necessarily has damage to clean up, right? Like from afar, you can do a lot of DPS, but generally you're just going to take people down in health, and that's going to be healed up by like an Ana, right? So kind of the same problem as Junkrat. Although if Junkrat kind of hits some grenades, maybe the 76 can be like the finisher here. So maybe these two together are okay. Interesting though. Very, very interesting. So Lunatic-Hai is going to be doing some kind of pincer move, it seems. Monkey's crouching, so the main team's going up top and the Monkey's on the far left, and he's going to be jumping up from behind. Right, and you don't have a Mei to wall off, so this is good. They are getting spammed by the Junkrat and Zarya. So let's look at the defensive positioning. We don't have a shield up here, which is what Lunatic-Hai did, but they do have the Roadhog that was up here shield busting. They also have a Junkrat spamming in there. They have the Zarya, who's probably in the back here. And they have the Monkey who's here. So he can check main. He can also jump here to come help and put a big shield up here if the attack actually commits to this. But he's probably just going to stay up here until the attack commits. I'm guessing the 76 is over here, even though he's not on camera. That's basically where you're going to put your 76. Ana's probably up here as well, because from here the Ana has vision of every single person on their team, and she could be supported by a 76's a biofield. Is it biofield? His healing. He just puts down. Also, if you put a grenade on both of you, okay, with the healing buff that it gives to any subsequent healing, this biofield is insanely strong. So you're replacing your second support by a DPS, but he still has some kind of healing potential. It's a very, very interesting composition to pair this soldier with the Ana. They're going for it again. Okay, Junkrat's dead. Okay, so it's a 4v4, 3v3. They're on the point. Okay. They're on the point. But you still have a 76 up here that's just shooting down on you. So Taejin right here is going to try to hook him. which we saw Taimu do perfectly on Eska before on the other side. But if he misses, right, the monkey was dead, I'm pretty sure. I think so. The monkey was dead, so he's just running back from spawn. And they're not going to have any contest for this 76 or this Ana. That might be a problem. Okay, he goes for the Ana instead of the soldier, which is probably the right decision. But, okay, monkey comes back. He just gets wrecked. The Ana's healing plus potentially the soldier's healing. The soldier's DPS with his rockets on top, right? Also, their monkey coming back. That was just too much for one poor little monkey. No swaps yet. This is looking good for EnvyUs actually. Because how do you contest that soldier? Right, he's spotting up here, but he's probably going to retreat to this once the enemy team shows. How do you contest him? You have a monkey that can jump. You have the Roadhog that can hook. And the McCree who's shooting from far. But that's it. That's literally it. You don't have a Genji in there to jump with the monkey. The Roadhog, if he misses his hook, becomes nothing. And the soldier still has the advantage over Eska in terms of long distance because of the healing with the Ana and his biofield. Okay, Harry Hook is still up here. He should not be here. He should have retreated to this, I think. Unless maybe from this angle. But you're kind of exposed from like the main street here. Okay, it is. Okay, here comes the tire. Let's see if he gets something. No, he doesn't get. Okay, something that I didn't know about the tire that I only learned like 2 weeks ago, I think, is that when you jump with the tire and explode in the air, it actually does way less damage than if you're just on the ground. Because it should one-shot the Roadhog, I think. It's either 500 or it's more than that in terms of damage. But yeah, don't jump. If you're getting your tire in like a bunch of enemies, don't jump right before you explode it, because it actually does less damage. At least I've been told. I don't play Junkrat all that much. Okay, so now Lunatic-Hai has been doing kind of like these dry pushes. They have a bunch of ultimates. Let's see if they can make that happen. They just used the nano. Let's try to find him. I don't see anyone. Miro's not nanoed. These guys are not nanoed, so I'm guessing it's Eska right here behind the wall. So he's probably gonna go for Deadeye with that. Yeah, there we go. But that got tanked by Zarya's bubble. Oh, he's gonna fall. Oh, no, he's okay. That was close. He almost got pushed by that monkey. Was it monkey? Oh, it was a monkey. It was Zarya, I think. Okay, Graviton from the side of EnvyUs, just in time. And they actually defend this. And once again, Numbani is the only hybrid map that has a defender's respawn advantage at first point. So that means like the attack can't just like trickle back in like you see on Hollywood, like you see on King's Row mostly. And also Eichenwald a bit. You just can't do that on Numbani. So Numbani is sometimes just like the offense doing 4 or 5 good pushes and that's it. If they don't get it, then they just lost the map. Which it looks like maybe this is going to be a full hold. Nano Monkey. Okay, with the nano on the monkey, generally you want to use as much of the nano as possible before you ult, right? Because your ult, like the nano gives you more survivability, right? And then once the nano wears off, you can just ult and gain back like a ton of health. And also damage-wise, when you're ulting in Primal Rage, it's a bit awkward if you're not like in range of people because you become melee. Whereas like his basic attack actually has quite a bit of range. Oh, he gets slapped. Okay, I'm not sure how he got slapped there because they used nano on the McCree again, and there should have been this shield in front, but he got slapped by Harry Hook. Not Harry Hook, Chips. And Chips is I don't see the bit rates too shit. It's probably him over there. Right? It's a really good sleep by Chips to negate that combo. In 15 seconds. Looking like it's gonna be the end. We see Tajin swapping to the Tracer, Tailspin as well to just get back on point faster. But in like an overtime situation, if the defense has both high grounds and you're just in the middle, you're gonna get wrecked, right? So overtime situation, even if you rush on the point and you have some kind of defense on this high ground, you're getting shot from both sides on both high ground. So you have better cover on this high ground and no cover whatsoever on the point. It's kind of like the worst situation possible. They're getting kills. Not gonna be enough, it looks like. Mirrors alone, and that's it. So EnvyUs wins map 2 on Numbani. The series goes back 1-1. We saw very interesting stuff in terms of role swaps. So they went back to kind of like what they were playing at the APAC premiere. I'm talking about Lunatic-Hai in terms of like who's playing support, who's playing Ana, who's playing Flex. And on the side of EnvyUs, very interesting 3-1 composition where you only have a single Ana to heal you and a soldier on the high ground to be like this kind of combo with the Ana. So really cool stuff. I'm gonna take a short break, but we'll be right back with map 3.